Hello, 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 and welcome to another wonderful episode of Chopping It Up. Actually, this is the first uh, episode of Chopping It Up this summer. We've just been doing our season review show, and we have been talking behind the scenes. I guess I'll let a little people know a little bit. BTS. I've been talking to whoever runs this account of our guests. And just like, yeah, we need to get each other on. Are you free? Are you free? We're gonna get this figured out. We're gonna get this figured out. Hey, it's off season. We got plenty of time now, and I've just been been having lots of conversations with other clubs about their season. I barely have been able to talk about Man City this summer, and that's not great. So here I am with Most Dope account, a media sphere. I remember seeing the account months beginning of the last season, and I was like, okay, who is this? This is cool. All right, new people. I'm always here for like new people following it. And then all of a sudden they're like aggregating all this stuff. They're posting about the players, the behind the scenes, off the pitch, on the pitch, international stuff. Respect, big respect. I don't even know where they're getting half of this information from. So like truly it's so cool as someone who I run everything for SOBN. And so seeing their hard work, I know, understand, and recognize it. So we're here finally being able to connect with them. Shady Gang, please show it up, show some love. Catherine, Dan, and Cloud.
It's Claudia, but yeah.
So I your name popped up. And I was like, oh, I follow these accounts because I technically don't know whose accounts are what for Inside MCWFC. So this is, I popped a little bit for people who are wrestling in a little phrase. I was like, oh, cool, this is great. So this is super fun. I'm very much looking forward to this conversation. How's the day been going so far?
Yeah, just another rainy day. Yeah. We've been really looking forward to this. And thank you so much for everything you said. It means a lot. We kind of like to keep ourselves private from inside. I have a public account, but he doesn't, or he does, sorry. But yeah, we like to keep ourselves separate, but it means a lot to hear that. So thank you.
Hey, see, love all over the place. Yes. Well, I would love to start with getting to know y'all a little bit better. It's usually whenever we have someone on for the first time, I spend a good chunk of it getting to know our guests. I'm a big fan of building relationships, and it frustrates some people because I've had like Joe Bray and Jack Gone on, and the first time I had them on, we're just like, so what's up? What's something overrated? Blah blah blah. And people are just like, get to the football. And it's like, no, I want to.
No, I respect this. I respect this.
Oh, hey, biggest fan, shout out. Okay, let's go. Oh man. But yes, let's start off with how did Inside begin in the first place?
So it's kind of a long story.
Okay, I got time.
Last year, big Twitter account, European Lad, had been saying some really nasty shit about women's football, and I was talking about it in a group chat, and someone was like, well, you should make an account like the European Lass and like post the opposite, but like with women's football. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I never committed to it because it wasn't serious. I had a lot going on. I've been in university for the past 3 years, so I was busy. And then last summer, I just started kind of getting into it. I didn't really have anything else to do, so I got really into making graphics, and I made a thread of like every club's transfers, ins and outs, and that kind of got us to a pretty big place. And then during the January transfer window, I started doing like little spaces on Twitter, I had a big one about Chloe Kelly and Kira Walsh because it was the final day of the transfer window, and that's how I met two of my admins, Clow included. And then one night I was like, I couldn't fall asleep, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I need to target City as my like main thing. So I was trying to think of names, and I was like, Inside MCWFC. And then I had Clow and a few other people join the team, and now we're here, and it's really fun, and we love it.
I think the way that we all joined the team too was like we ended up in a group chat together, and it was mostly to just discuss, City and what the players were doing and everything like that. And I think at one point you were just like, "Who wants the password?"
Yeah, it was who wants the password.
Yeah, and we've all been helping out since then, so it's been pretty good.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, and that's also the best way. Asking, hey, who wants in? Because even when we put together Shades of Blue, I did a bunch of interviews and everything, but I've always told the people, my show bros, I want you guys locked in as much as you guys want to. So if there's anything you don't want to do or you don't want to participate in, don't feel the need that you have to do it, because that's how you quickly get burnt out. And Tom Baum on our pod, he covers Kansas City Current, and he's at the matches and doing all the interviews, and that's blown up from when because he wasn't doing that when the pod started, but just through that he's grown there. And our buddy Tarek, he's now on like LB's stream multi times a week. Like it's been really fun watching the guys kind of grow and spread their wings, and I'm very much looking forward to watching y'all continue to grow and kick some butt. OG Inside Fan Squad.
This is true.
Let's go. Okay. Well, favorite current Man City women's player, and why? Like, well, let's get into it. I've always loved asking people this question.
This took me a while because I looked at the questions yesterday. I was like, I need to think about this. I'm wearing a Greenwood shirt because I love her, but I think it's got to be Alba. I just love her dedication and her commitment to like being better, even though she's already like so incredible for her age. Like you'll see her Instagram captions and she's like, I'm sorry for this performance. Like, and it's like, you just like, what are you talking about? You're sorry. And she's such a sweetheart. Like because we had gone to Portugal together for the World Sevens, and the way she interacts with fans and the way she interacts with other players, it's like it's so lovely to see. And as she continues to grow at City, I think she'll just become a huge presence on and off the pitch, and I love when we can see that in players. So
yeah. How hard she is on herself.
It's hard to watch.
I know. And Gareth even said that a couple of times before he was gone, and he was mentioning how almost a little too much she's on herself, and
like they'd have to tell her like you need to stop training, you need to go home.
You need to relax.
You never hear that. I feel like it. She's just so committed to City, and leaving your home at such a young age. I've done that. It's so hard, and she's doing it in such a different environment. I can't imagine. So massive props to her for what she's doing, and I'm so excited to see her play next season.
Yeah, when she was first announced that she was coming, I do what most people do. Yeah, hit up YouTube and all that stuff, and you try to watch highlight videos, and like I got so excited because just the way she was embarrassing people in these videos, and just fearlessness. And we need that attitude. We need that intensity. Also just being able to match Hemp's. Like Hemp can embarrass you on the left, Alba can embarrass you on the right, and she just always manages to find just enough space to get that cross in. It's so great.
Yeah, we love it.
Perfect. All right, who's next?
Okay.
Next. You go ahead.
No, I think for me, like it kind of changes very, like.
That's fair.
Yeah, quite often. Like it's been start of the season. was Mary Fowler, and like towards the back end of last season. But I think since she's joined for me, it's been Carolyn, and even just the fact that she's only been here 6 months, and it's like we've already seen so much from her. Like, we've not even had a full season. The only thing is that she just needs to learn the offside rule for me. I think there's been games that I've been to where it's like every run she makes, she's 2 or 3 yards offside, and she just doesn't seem to pick up on it. But I think
that's the thing that always like surprises me about her though, because coming from the NWSL, like they have VAR over there. Like you would think that she'd be used to it by now, or you would think that she would like adapt the way that she plays to the offside rule, but she just doesn't care. And I feel like in a way I do respect that about her.
Yeah, I think it was, last game of the season against Leicester or Palace. Sorry, every time she's going forward, I'm like, I can see from where I'm sat, 3 or 4 yards offside. I don't know how she can't tell herself. But learn that next season.
Exactly. Maybe the English offside flag is different than the American. Who knows? She just needs she's so fast too. So it's like I don't even know what you're doing. Just.
You don't need them extra yards on the defender.
But yeah, I love Carolyn. We have so many players on the squad that kind of lead by their play, or they'll do wonders and they kind of keep it chill. And I love that when she embarrasses people, you see her celebrating. When she scores, she does 3 celebrations in one. Like we need that energy. We need that fun, that brightness being brought to the club, because hey, if we can get like team celebrations at least once or twice next season, I'm here for it. I will be losing it.
If we can get those World Sevens, like group celebrations, oh my god,
we need somebody to do the worm,
We need like the physio bike. We need that. We need the strike that Bayern did, and now we can't talk about that yet. We'll talk about it later.
Yes, we'll talk about that later. Yes. Yeah, that was great. Yes, more Inside Nation. Let's go. Let's go. Oh yeah. Okay. So like, as much as I would love to see a back, I just get so worried. It's just like, I know she can do it, but I'm just.
But it's like, what if the one time she does it again, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak it into existence, but like.
I feel like Jessica tends to be so reserved when it comes to celebrations. Like she's never done like a knee slide or anything like that. Like she just kind of like goes like that, and that's pretty much it.
A little fist bump. Nothing wrong with that. But,
I love that. All right, Clow.
On my side, it's complicated because I used to have like a pretty solid top 4, and it was Jill, Yui, Jess, and Laya, and then half of them left. Well, I mean, Jill leaving is sort of whatever. I mean, I think it's the correct move for her, so good for her. Laya, it has been really hard being a fan of hers over the past year because she has been dreadful off the pitch, on the pitch. It's been horrible. But now she's gone, so I can like let go of that. So now my locked-in favorite is Yui. I love what she brings to the team, and not only on the pitch, because obviously like she is such an excellent player. She's so versatile. The way that she plays is essentially like what dictates City's entire style of play, which is something that I love about her. But I think even off the pitch, you can see the relationship that she has with the players, how loved she is by the entire squad, by the coaching team, by the staff. I just think she's like such a humble person and such a good player to have in the team. And yeah, I don't know. I know that she recently extended her contract until 2027, but like I kind of want her to extend it again. Just for me, like she's the kind of player that like I want her to be here as long as possible. And I don't know, she's the kind of player that I feel like we should be building our team around, which I feel like we are. So
I mean,
yeah,
we are a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, she said too many times in interviews how she's like eating alone and she's missing home food and things like that. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll just bring you a few of your national teammates. That's cool. Yeah. All right.
Like if you're thinking about leaving, don't.
Like if you leave, what are they all gonna do now? Just gave you a whole squad.
She can't win
Oh.
alone. Like, I was actually thinking about this, and you know how they usually, because the captaincy team is usually like team voted, and I was thinking with the amount of Japanese players that there are in the squad right now, like it is very, very possible for just Yui to be like, I don't know, 5th or 6th captain or something like that, just by the amount of votes that she's gonna get.
She's
She's reading the
very
system.
easily. Very smart of them. Okay, let's go. Oh, what's up? Good to
Oh my
see
god,
you.
it's guy.
Oh man, good old liability. Like that
Oh.
was like we oh my gosh, this season with her, it was so frustrating because everybody knew she was leaving for Barca, and it was like the least she could do is not play like a quarter of her brain is already in Barcelona. Like she's already thinking about the beaches. Just made the silliest mistakes that were very frustrating and
Costly.
trying to stay positive during our watch-alongs, but also just like wanting to just scream and yell. It's just like it's so frustrating. Obviously, we have a big Laya fan. Her when everybody said goodbye to her and they gave her the roses and all that stuff, I understand it, but I don't remember the last time they've done energy like that for a player, let alone a player who's been around for a couple of seasons.
Oh no, it's every season.
Yeah, they bring out the flowers for like everybody. Usually
Yeah, so if
when
like
they leave.
Okay. I guess I don't pay attention to
no,
that, I guess.
yeah, because it's kind of after, and last season we had
It's
had
not
so many
streamed,
players
right?
leave that I think it was a little more like. But since Laya was the only one who officially left on the final day of the season, it was
Okay,
a
cool.
little more
Well, then
publicized.
take my words back. Say anything at all. I loved it. So classy from the club. Oh man, so good, so good, so
Posh
good.
Mr. City.
And
What made me laugh about that entire day was like, I feel like like we all knew that she was going to Barcelona, right? But like in the months and weeks leading up to the final day of the season, you could see like the amount of rumors and the amount of journalists kind of reporting on the fact that, you know, it was a done deal and she was going to Barcelona, et cetera, et cetera. So like everybody was kind of starting to make their peace with it. And she had been on like a slightly better form for the past like 2 or 3 games. Like she was really good against United. And everyone was like, oh, you know, like she's good again, you know, good timing. She can leave on a high note. And then like 5 minutes into the Palace game, she makes an error. We concede a goal. It was the funniest way for her career to end at City.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that Palace game yesterday because I was really hungover that day. And, you know, I wake up, I'm watching it on my computer in bed. I'm like out of it. And then I just see us concede and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's so early.
Palace, like they were already relegated by that.
They scored twice against us. Like
it was very embarrassing.
It was so bad.
I actually did the Crystal Palace season review. I think it was like last Thursday. And Eagle Eye View, Phil, his name's Phil Huffer, he came on and talked about Ed. Yeah, he was very happy about that experience. Obviously, not how it ended, but that first 25 minutes of the match, that was super exciting for them. And yeah, having to wake up super early, knowing it's the end of the season, can't really do anything when it comes to Champions League or anything like that. And then to be down by 2 to, as you said, a relegate, it's just like, what are we doing? Do I just go back to bed? No, I'm already too pissed. I wouldn't be able to go back to bed if I wanted to. Glad they pulled ahead at the end. This could have been real ugly.
Yeah, a loss against relegated Palace would have been
very embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Yui. It's basically a tie between Yui and Bunny. It's just those 2 additions. Tom Baum, our first year, he spent most of it basically screaming about Bunny Shaw not getting enough playing time. And just if you look at her stats, like her goals per 90 compared to who is starting in front of her, it makes no sense. Play her. So that was great. And Yui, it took us 5 minutes in the first game in our watch along for us to just be chanting Yui, Yui, Yui. She just receives the ball. It doesn't matter who's on her. She just spins around them. The ball is just stuck at her foot. How she wins some of these tackles against these people and they can't get the ball off of her. Absolutely amazing. Hey, we can move on to the managers because that was my biggest gripe with Cushing. Well, and so we'll get there, but let's start off with Garrett Taylor. Nobody tore our podcast more than Garrett Taylor. Like we were like split into two of us. Tom Baum and I wanted him away from our club as soon as possible. And then Sharpie, who I love, but we never agree on anything. He was big GT, Team GT. I didn't necessarily agree with how he was let go, especially I understood they were like, hey, we need to try to find something fresh and exciting before this murderer's row of Chelsea games. I got that. But then when it was announced that it was Spin the Block Dude, who we nicknamed, all excitement that I had left. And I was like, I'll actually take Garrett Taylor back for the rest of the season. So we'll go back. Thoughts on Garrett Taylor, how he did, and were you pro or against him being fired mid-season?
So I've kind of like, I wouldn't call myself like a staunch Gareth defender. I think he should have left at the end of this. I think the timing was awful. They needed to wait until the end of the season, like no doubt. Because you have a set squad, you've got a set manager, and you're facing media fallout because of a player who shall not be named. But it was kind of, I don't think having Nick went the way they wanted it to. And, I love Nick. I've met Nick. He's a great guy. Super nice. But, you look at his, I remember when Gareth was sacked and they announced Nick Cushing, and, we were kind of doing like an emergency space on Twitter, and I was looking up his win rate at New York City, and I was just like, anyone else, like it. And he, like I said, he's such a nice guy. He gets along with the players. They clearly love him, but he's just not the right fit. And going out the way we did in some of those games was, I don't think the club could have expected anything else, because how could they? But in the end, bad timing on it. They should have done it at the end of the season rather than right before 4 Chelsea games in a row. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I'm not a Gareth Taylor fan, to be fair. But I also I do find the amount of criticism that he gets often on Twitter, I do think a lot of it is unfounded, and it kind of becomes impossible to have a really nuanced conversation about him, because you can't point out the things that he did well, or then you're like, oh, you're a Gareth Taylor fan, but he sucked. And it's yeah, he sucked, but he also did some things that were okay. That game against Barcelona was the best football that we've ever played. And, those were his tactics. He did pretty well with the club when he was here. I do agree with the timing, not so much on the Chelsea end, because I think we would have lost most of those games anyway, realistically, with the amount of injuries that we had. I do think keeping Taylor, though, we maybe would have won the United game afterwards, or the Everton game that we drew. I think he might have been able to take us past the finish line and maybe cling to that third place and to the Champions League spots. So I'm not too rattled about the timing regarding the Chelsea games, but I do agree sacking him mid-season, it was just unnecessary, especially with the squad that was already, we were going through so many injuries, so many things were changing, so many things were going on. The last thing you want is even more instability. So I think on my end, I was a bit confused. But you know, I'm glad that he's gone.
Yes.
If we're being honest, I'm glad he's gone. But it should have been done in a better way.
I kind of think it was the worst time to get rid of him. It's like, okay, you either get rid of him at the end of the season, or that I wanted him gone sooner. I was one of them who was like, nah, it's just not good enough. But then we just kind of kept him until it got to a point where it's like, oh, we can't carry on like this. We have to do something. And I think it was kind of probably the Chelsea games and like the lead up to the last few games for the Champions League that the club were like, oh, we need to sort this out. Otherwise, we're not going to get Champions League. So I think, yeah, we should have either got rid of him a little bit earlier and given someone time to actually do something with the squad instead of, all right, pick it up with 5 games to go and do what you can with it, or even enough time to get someone better than Nick to come in.
Yeah.
Instead of like you're until the end of the season, that's the best we can do. It didn't seem that organised. Or not organised, but like, all right, he's coming in, but he's also going like after the last game.
No, I'm with you. Or it felt because you would like to believe they had somebody better than Nick Cushing. Like you said, when you looked him up his time at NYCFC, he won his first season, and he basically just rode that as his success until they were like, okay, guy, you really aren't doing anything for this club. I have friends who are a part of the supporters group, top people when it comes to working with the club as a fan. And yeah, they hated the dude. And so when it was announced that he came to City, I actually got a couple of messages where they were just like, good luck. And yeah, I love watching the player interviews, and you could kind of tell something was going on in December with Gareth, because there were a couple times where he was getting like, I hated his interviews because he just was so almost like oatmeal, where he would give an answer, but he really wouldn't say anything. And you're just like, all right, cool. But then he started getting a little like snippy with people, and the way that he'd answer, he would be just like, oh, well, okay, what about this? Have you thought about this? And I was like, whoa, who is this guy? And then Lana.
See, I kind of love that.
Oh, I mean, it was passion.
Yeah, like I think when managers give it back to the media, it's like
he like finally had some personality, you know, like he got
exactly.
something.
And I mean, yeah, I think the one thing about him that I really disliked was he wasn't dishonest, but it was definitely like an air of like, Lauren Hemp has had some knee scans, but she's fine. And it was like, was she?
You just gonna lie to us? You just gonna lie to us? We know what's going on. Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you for your time, Gareth Taylor, but glad it's over in the end.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Best of luck at Crystal Palace or whatever he ends.
Well, no, they just got a new manager.
Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. I just remember seeing it the other day.
Okay, well, he can go to like Liverpool or whatever club has no manager right now.
Oh my gosh!
Where's
yeah, I remember when he was also tied with Angel City with Alana. Joe Potter is Crystal Palace's new manager. I am in a group chat, and there are a couple people who write for or about about Angel City, and they didn't mince words where they were like, hey, I understand that this is what everybody is saying, but everybody that I have talked to saying absolutely not. They want nothing to do with this man. Alana Kennedy basically is running away from him, and you think they're going to bring him back, bring him to this club? No. So that was all right. Let's see. Never trust a bald person. We have a bald person on our podcast, so I've grown to like and trust, but you know, it's more so specifically him. But he's doing a good job at spreading the positivity for bald people. Yeah, he was wild statement. Love you, Sharpie. Cushing between him getting there and everyone basically being like, wait, so you're saying you want to go back to men's? Why'd you even show up? And then he got all upset and angry. And then the next week he kind of had to like cover up his words and be like, I was just kidding, guys. I just
want a job in the top flight.
Yeah,
Like,
I just want a job. It doesn't matter. It can be men's, it can be women's. But I think by then he had already pissed off the media. And I don't think that went very well with the women in the locker room also. And then see,
He wanted forever ago, though.
and the game was so different.
You have to understand how much women's football has changed since the time that Nick won us that title to the time like where we are now, because you have clubs like Chelsea like investing millions into players. That wasn't a thing back in the day. Like women's football has just changed so much for the better, but I don't think it's really for Nick. I mean, my highest praise about Nick is that when we were at the World Sevens, he'd come out every day and just wave at us and give like Ben and I a thumbs up. And it was really funny because he recognized us every day, which was nice of him. But that's my highest praise of Nick Cushing.
I think for me, like, I do have a lot of positive things to say about Nick Cushing. Like, because when he first got appointed, I was not happy. I think like Kat and I were looking at his stats. Like it was horrible. Like I was really not happy about it. But you know what? Like as an opposite to Gareth, he was actually really, really good in interviews. You know, He kept talking about, having to do everything for the badge and being able to give the fans a show and be able to like play good football for the fans and, being able to like do everything that we can to succeed as a club. Did he succeed? Absolutely not. Like the tactics were bad. The football was bad. But you could tell that he really, really cared about the club and about the club being successful. And I feel like that's not something that we really ever saw that much from Gareth. And I don't think it's something that you see from every manager necessarily. Like them genuinely caring about the club that they represent. That was something that I really enjoyed about Cushing. Everything aside from that, though, like, no, the tactics did not do it for me. I didn't even recognize what we were doing in the first place. But yeah.
I mean, it is like we can't change it.
Yeah, he didn't. And the thing that frustrated me the most was I was really hoping to, Gareth wouldn't play Oyama or there were just certain players, and I understand he was more so kind of like protecting players, and so then when Cushing came in, I was like, all right, cool. We'll get to see these players. We'll get to see some things. And it was more of the same, and him just trotting out Gracie every week. And I felt like that was obvious. It wasn't working. And I feel bad for how much we were going in on prior on it. But it was
I mean I've seriously loved seeing her develop this season. I think she has such a bright future ahead of her. I wish she had played a little less, because one of my thing with younger players is that you should play them, but to have them playing like 90 plus minutes a week, I think it's a little much. From a biological standpoint, your bones, your muscles, they won't develop right, and I think a lot of people now don't really take that into consideration. I mean, you have so many young players in every league doing extreme minutes now, and it's disheartening. I know in the NWSL, it's quite bad. I mean, you'll see tweets about like 14-year-olds playing, and it's like, that's not right. Have an academy. Don't do this. But I think one thing about City is that it's drilled into every manager that like you should play the young players, but try not to overplay them. And I think the situation with Gracie is that, Alex was out, so we just didn't have another center back to play in her role. And then Bex was injured for so long. So it was like, who else can we put in here? And it just...
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing about Cushing for me. It's like a lot of people complain about Gareth's lack of rotation, which I do agree with to some extent. Not to the full extent. I do agree. Like some players really did deserve to get benched. But I feel like under Cushing, things didn't really change that much. Like Oyama never played. Lazelle played like one game. Like it was really the same team every single time, which I understand. You're a new manager. Everybody's injured. You're kind of like trying to make the most out of what you have, and changing your back line, changing like the very few good links up that you have on the field. It's not a good idea to do, especially when you're only playing the last like month or so. Like we were playing like once a week. Like you don't necessarily need to be rotating that much. But I did find it frustrating just from a personal standpoint. Like I wanted to see Lazel play a lot more.
Yes.
But she never did. I wanted to see Oyama play. She never came on. So it was frustrating from that standpoint.
Yeah, just
Did
from
you ever watch the
standpoint.
World Sevens?
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, quickly on that, how was that experience? Because it looked like it was fun.
It was definitely fun. Our problem with it was like the DJ. Really annoying, just constant. And I guess like that was the vibe they were going for apparently. But like, I don't know, like the Jaws music during penalties, I was like, okay, what are we doing here? But it was nice, and it really does give a good opportunity to earn money as a team. I mean, I don't know how much we'd actually, I can't think of us off the top of my head, but we had earned quite a bit from just making it to where we did.
Yeah, just from showing up, you earn quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean they'll cover your travel expenses. It's kind of ridiculous, and it is kind of cool to know that they're going to do more tournaments, not featuring just European clubs. So I'm pretty sure Miami was brought up at one point for the next one, which would be kind of cool. Just some fun in the sun with some like NWSL teams, some Mexican teams. Like, I think that would be really cool to see. So, yeah. That's my take on that.
Okay. Yes, agreed. Cannot wait to see her play. And just we're seeing it on the men's side. Rodri returning back from an injury, and he's been able to get some rest, and he's not playing full 90s. Just want Yui to be able to get subbed off. Just give her 10 minutes. The one match was last year where she was subbed off with 10 minutes ago, but she's so used to being subbed off with no minutes ago, so she ran.
So she just walked on the tunnel.
Yeah, because she's just so used to being like, all right, I'm off, the game's over, let me go. Like it's hilarious, but also like not great.
It's sad.
It's not great. It's not great.
Like, rest her.
Oh, okay. Well, this supposed Andre Juglert's possible signing, I think they're just waiting for the Euros to kind of do their thing to make this announcement, even though it was talked about. Yeah, it was the beginning of June where everybody was writing the articles about it. I understand respecting it, but also if the news is out and his players possibly know, I feel like it. Now I don't like being talked to or treated like I'm dumb. So like if I was a player, I would be like, bro, what are we doing? Like I can still, in fact, I might play harder for you knowing that you're leaving and this is like your final goodbye, instead of being like, okay, now that you chumps have lost, bye. Like I don't know. It's interesting. But thoughts on this signing, because yes, he has had success, but it was 2 decades ago. I have friends in Denmark. Yeah, they really like him. They think he can do some great things. They love the prospect of him teach what he can teach to the team, like having a more rounded out roster than the national team, where it basically is
you get what you get. Like, you don't really get to shop, basically.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Is this the guy that you were? Well, I don't want to say hoping, because I don't know.
No.
But,
so a little thing about me is that I kind of have this soft spot for Roma. Dybala is one of my favorite players. I love Di Rossi as well. Like, I love Roma. On the side. And when on the side, I promise. And when Spugna had left the club, he's a brilliant coach. I had really wanted him, and then a couple Italian journalists had started to say, well, City are interested. Like, there's a couple clubs in Europe that are interested in him. City's one of them. I was like, oh my god, like, amazing stuff. I'll get him. Great. And then I think Amanda Zaza had.
The Amanda Saza article on Yeglerts came out before the Spooner stuff.
Okay, yeah. Was it Tom Gary?
Yeah, afterwards, I think somebody said something about like us closing in on Yeglerts, and then Denmark announced his replacement for after the Euros.
Yeah.
So it was like,
yeah. And then it was kind of like okay, like there's no hope of getting Spugna at the club. I don't think it's fair to judge him at Denmark, because you don't have a super wide roster to choose from. I mean, the current assumption is they'll get grouped, he'll come home, move to Manchester, City will announce him. But at the same time, his successes were so long ago that you wonder how he's going to do in a fast-paced league that, probably, in my opinion, is the most competitive in the world, even though Chelsea win it, every year. It's, it is competitive.
Yes.
It's great. But I'm not sure how well he'll be able to do. And, I know he has a lot of great players under his belt now, but it's still kind of concerning, but at the same time, I do trust the board with this. I've said that a lot. I know Nick and Gareth, that was so rushed, but at the same time, now they've had months to figure this out. And, they've probably interviewed so many people. But I trust the board. Even if I have my reservations, I do trust them in making this decision, because they care about the women's team. Like, that's the thing. Because you look at a lot of other women's clubs and they just don't care. The boards just don't care. But it's so, I mean, we make these huge signings like Carolyn. Why can't I think of anyone else? Carolyn's a big one. Jade Rose
was quite big.
Yeah.
Even though she was like, we obviously paid like good wages for that.
We care. Like, so I trust that we also care about the manager, not just who we sign and these big names. I really do trust that the board is making the right choice here, and that, we care about who's leading us.
Yeah, I mean, I think on my end, I'm on the same side as Kat, as in, like, I don't really necessarily think that it's fair to judge him by how he's done at Denmark. And then if you look at his experience prior to that, it's obviously, it's like you said, like it's been a really long time. Umea was forever ago. He managed Finland for a while. That was also a decade ago. It's been a really long time since he's worked in club football, or since he's had any like tangible like trophy success. So it is hard to judge, but I think, like, from what I was reading, especially from some of the Danish players during interviews, or some of the press around Linköping or Finland and stuff like that, was like the players really do seem to like him, which is something that I feel like we desperately need. Like, I did not think all the players hated Gareth Taylor. I think a lot of the players that did hate him left, and a lot of the ones that did remain quite liked him. I think a lot of them
Viv and Alex. I mean, I know Viv in particular had said something along the lines of, like, he made me love football again.
Exactly.
That's such a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I think people kind of dislike, I'm never gonna take away from the fact that there were players with bad experiences with him. I mean, Jill Scott, Kira Walsh, Ellie Roebuck. Like, there are players that did not like him and had a bad relationship with him. But at the same time, there were so many players that had a really good relationship with him. So I don't think it's fair to discount either spectrum of that,
That's right.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, like, to that point, like, I think that is kind of what we need is a manager that can please every single player, and a manager that does get along well with people. And looking at the interviews, looking at a lot of the talks and the articles that I've seen written up about him, that seems to be kind of like, I don't know, everybody says that about him. Like, he seems like a really nice guy. Everybody seems to enjoy him, the players, the fans, the staff around him. So I think that's something that I'm very happy about. And I think, and this might seem a little bit pessimistic, but, like, to be honest, I don't really think there is such a thing as like a really successful manager in women's football, at least not like one that's available. Like, there's like Emma Hayes. Jonah Heraldez.
You can tell she loves the U.S. women's national team.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like such a small pool of like genuinely successful women's managers that like if you look at anything else, like other than like the 3 managers they like you will not get. If you look at anybody else, like it is going to be a gamble and it is going to be a risk. And I think you just have to like hope that the board knows what they're doing, like Kat said, and that they're able to take a risk on somebody that might actually pay off in the long term. So I don't think there's like a safe bet in terms of managers, especially not in women's football. Like anybody that we pick is going to be, I don't know, there's going to be a con. You know, I love Spugna, for example. Like I really wanted him, but like then you take a look at his record over the last season at Roma, didn't do that well. So, you know, like people could bring up that, like you can bring up any sort of like negative point about a lot of the managers that are available right now. So, you know, this guy has pros, he has cons. Hopefully it works out. I'm pretty excited.
We'll find out.
Exactly.
We'll just have to find out.
Oh man. Yes. Kirsten. What's up, Neil? Yeah, the Sean Goder. We were kind of very hopeful for him because, like I said, everybody's gonna have to, whoever City would bring in, it's taking a chance on, and I would be more willing to take a chance on Sean Goder because Bunny talked so highly of him and about her own personal growth as a striker, and she gave him a lot of the credit. We saw what he was able to do with Aston Villa when he was there for a couple of weeks, and he was promptly kicked to the side, which he stayed for the rest of the season. Shout out to him for doing that because he expressed that he wanted to stay as the manager, and they're like, yeah, we like what you're doing, and you've brought us a couple of wins and draws, but bye. Yeah, it was very frustrating.
And then, I mean, that's kind of one of those things that goes to show that like not every club has that respect for their women's team. Like Villa is a really unfortunately poor example of that because I mean look what happened yesterday. The women's club was literally sold. I mean to themselves, but still it's kind of like you see that and it's just like
it's not to themselves. So that's the thing. It's like you can make that argument about Chelsea. Like Chelsea did sell it to themselves. Villa are getting, from what I'm understanding at least, it's like it's external owners and like they're partial owners. But like they don't maintain full control of their women's team, which, like you said, like they don't care about it. It's not like
just puts everything up and it puts everything up in limbo. Like, and you had, big players are going to leave. I mean, who do they? I mean, they have Rachel Daly left and Jordan Nobbs left, and there's been rumors. What?
Did Rachel Daly actually left?
No, I said they still have her. Like she's still there. Yeah, okay. I'm just, and there's also, I mean, there's been a few rumors with them. I'm pretty sure of potentially, leaving, and as a club,
yeah, I feel like it's hard to tell. Like if you take a look at Villa, for example, looking at last summer, I thought they had a really good window. Like I was impressed by some of the business that they were doing. It seemed really good. They broke their own transfer fee record for Gabby Nunez, who was unfortunately, I don't think she ended up that good for them. But like it's like they tried something and then they got Natalia Arroyo, who I thought did really poorly her first few matches, but then became really good. But then it's like they kind of make these small attempts to make the club work. And then the second that they see that it's not as successful, that they're not like immediately winning the WSL, they kind of throw the towel. And it's poor, I think, from them and from other big clubs as well. It's not just them.
Oh, definitely. That was a big pattern whenever I would talk with most of the clubs about their women's side, obviously other than the Arsenals and the Chelseas, but a lot of the other clubs, like I had part of the Pride podcast on, they cover Aston Villa women, and their grade was they all gave the D to the front office. Like they were very disappointed. There was one specific person who works for the club that they said by name and gave her all the love, but they were like everybody else over it. Yeah. So it's unfortunate. And overall the league it's getting better. I mean, Brighton with them getting Ndozi, like that's a big move for them. even their manager who came from Melbourne City FC, I was kind of hoping that City might try to throw the bag at him and steal him from Brighton. Like, I was perfectly okay with that, but he obviously seems very happy where he is,
which is a good sign because he's such a good manager. So it's like, Brighton they're gonna fight for it. And another thing is the addition of 2 more teams.
Yes.
In the like 14, I'm excited.
I'm really excited about it, and I think what I like is that it's coming so soon. I feel like when we talk about expansion of the league, it's always like, oh, like in several years, in like 2-3 years, we'll have something. But now it's like, like actually not this upcoming season, but the season after that, we'll actually have a much bigger league. Well, much bigger, like 2 teams. That's still like a significant difference.
Yeah.
But to me, like it's so exciting, and I feel like the way that they've gone about it. I know they mentioned like stopping relegations for a few years. That was a horrible idea, but they seem to have settled on a format that like I really like. Having playoffs between some of the lower ranked WSL teams and the higher ranked WSL 2. I'm actually really happy about that.
Yeah, that'll be really
I do think it means that like this season we likely won't see anybody in the WSL relegated unless they lose really embarrassingly to like a championship side. But going forward, I think it'll be quite good.
Yeah. I was talking with somebody from Leicester City, their women's team, and they were talking about the relegation and sort of being a little nervous about it.
They're the ones getting relegated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the amount of players that have left Leicester City on freeze this summer?
It's horrible. Yeah. It's horrible. Like,
is it 14?
Yeah, it was like 16 or something like that. And they already announced like several of them. A lot of them, I think like 10 or something, were expiring like yesterday or today. They still haven't said anything about it. Like, they have no players. We were counting yesterday. They have 11 players left.
Hey,
and 2 of them are goalkeepers, so it's like you can't. That's not even real.
My bad.
Someone has to take them for the team.
Yeah, it's wild, and yeah, I'm also just here to watch the league grow. It's in this very fun spot, and now they have the same branding with WSL and WSL2, and these new cool trendy logos, and I see them trying on social media. They're posting a lot more and some variation of things. Like, that's all I wanted to see, is them trying, and so that's great. I don't have to use FA player like 7 to 10 times a year anymore. Like, it's all the small things. Yeah, the logo's not great. It just looks like
it looks like the World Surf League logo, which is coincidentally also the WSL.
Yeah.
So, and like, I don't know, the graphic. Oh, I shouldn't say that because that could get me in trouble. But yeah, I don't know. The graphics are what they are.
Yes.
They're horrible after that. Like, I dislike them heavily, but I also like, despite me disliking them, and despite that, I do agree though with what you said about. It is nice to see that they want to go towards a more consistent branding, that they want to build a brand. I think the brand that they're building kind of sucks, but it's nice to see the effort at least.
They're trying. They're trying.
They're trying something. It's not working, but they're trying.
Okay, well let's talk about City's roster. Looking ahead, like I'm a big fan of a way too early prediction with the moves of the players that have been brought in. Amon, Jade, that's nice. There's potentially.
Can I talk about what happened today? Can I talk about
please.
it?
Oh, yeah, please. Let's go for it.
Talk about it.
Sydney Lohman. I mean, we've heard some rumors that she's been in Manchester. The club makeup artist accidentally like posted a photo on her story when the German team coincidentally had like 2 days off of the Euros camp, and then today. If you went on the club shop for a little while and you went under shop by player, Sydney Lohman 22 was on there. And then we posted about it, and then a few minutes later it's gone. But that is confirmation above all else that Sydney Lohman is a Manchester City player. They're just I've been kind of leaning towards, yeah, it's true. When the rumors first started, and I've kind of always been with they're going to announce it after the Euros. I think it's way too tight to do it now. But I mean, technically we have 3 signings. One of them just hasn't been announced yet. And I'm really excited for her because she can kind of play in either the 6 or the 8. And that is something we need for Yui specifically. But yeah, very excited. And I think with the addition of her, that kind of puts me at an 8 with my 8 out of 10 on my opinions of the roster. I'm really excited to see what we're going to do. Really excited to see Jade Rose play for us. I know Cloud has been really wanting Jade at the club. Like I was actually in shock. I was on holiday in Italy, and I was at our little Airbnb because I was really sunburnt, and I'm sitting in bed, and I get the City Women notification, and it's just a picture of roses, and I'm like, how did Cloud pull this off?
Listen, I have been wishing for Jade Rose to join the club forever. Full disclosure, I'm Canadian, so she plays for my national team, and I'm a huge fan of her. She's one of my favorite players on the Canadian team right now. So I had been begging for her to go to City for such a long time, but it was kind of those things that you wish it would happen, but there's absolutely no indication that it will. So then you kind of start thinking it would be nice if it happened, but realistically, it probably never will. So I was really kind of stuck in that mindset. I was sending Therese Siogran literally DMs on Instagram, please sign Jade Rose. And then I'm sure she was definitely ignored. But I had been manifesting for this thing to happen for so long, because to me, she is the perfect replacement for Laya. She has the same skill set. She has the same, positional versatility. She is such a like-for-like player, but with an even higher ceiling, which I know we all diss Laya, but I thought she had a lot of potential, to become even better, aside from, this season. But I think Laya had a lot of potential, but I do think Jade has even more potential. She has room to grow. She's a leader. She was a captain for a lot of the youth teams when she was playing for Canada. So for me, she was a signing that I was so excited about. But when they posted that picture with the roses, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was going to be a Japanese player. I thought it was those cherry leaves, the sakura leaves, and I was like, oh my god, we're getting Fukunaga. And then they posted Jade Rose. I almost started crying. It was so bad, but I am so happy about it now.
I'm excited.
I still think we need another midfielder. I'm not going to be happy until we get another. I want Nagano from Liverpool. I don't know if that's just me. I'm for a year or two, probably a year now, thinking she's really good. So I think she'd fit in the team really well. But at this point, I would take anyone, any decent enough midfielder.
You know who I really want? Kaylee Van Doren. She's a Dutch player. She's pretty young, but I think she'd make a great I don't know how to say it, but I think she'd be great to kind of have on the bench and then slowly work into the team, because I think she's a great young player that could really do a lot for the club.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
It's a random shout, but
hey, we're here for it. Speak it into existence, just like Jade Rose.
Well, you know what? We've apparently done it before, and we can do it again. So chop, let's do it.
But yeah, I do agree that we need another midfielder. I think the way that things are setting up right now, I think our midfield 3, with Jess as the 10, and then Sine Loman and Yui, I think that's incredible. I think that's a really good midfield. And obviously we have Blinky that's also there. We have Oyama that's also there. I do think we need solid, experienced backup. And I think, as Dan said, I do think Nagano would be such a good fit with the team. My one issue with that is that the moment where we will need that backup is when Yui leaves in March for the Asian Cup.
Yeah.
And Nagano's going to leave right with her. So it's at that point, who comes into the team? Yeah. So I think from that perspective, I would maybe a player that will not be going to the Asian Cup. I do speaking of Roma, actually, I like Giada Greggi a lot.
Yes.
I think she would be excellent for us. I love her. So, but yeah, like you said, I think our starters are pretty much set. So it's really just a matter of getting a decent backup. And I think there's so many midfielders available. it could be Nagano, it could be Gragia, it could be whoever. I'm not that fussed about it, but I do think we need one more person at least.
I'm with you. I would have loved if we would have brought the Pale Pele back to City. That would have been great, especially because her trip there wasn't the best when it happened. Yeah. Are any of you worried about that? I mean, it's the same thing with Viv. Like how often will we have this incredibly talented player available?
I think, I don't think you can ever kind of like say a definite answer on, whether or not a player can do minutes, City have a really good med staff. So the thing about it, like a City player will get injured and it's like, oh my God, Alex tore her MCL. She's going to be out for the rest of the season. Jill Royd tore ACL, she's out for the next 9 months to a year. And it's like, but then City's medical staff and physio staff are just so good that being injury prone honestly doesn't really concern me that much. Like, I know it's kind of an insane thing to say, but, let's say, does something to an ankle ligament.
Mm-hmm.
So did Blinky. Like, and, Nick had said that she's out for the rest of the season. She was not out for the rest of the season. She was back in like a week. It's kind of crazy. So in all honesty, like I understand concerns with that, but at the same time, it's like you have to trust the medical staff. You have to trust the board to kind of say, we're going to sign this injury prone player, but we're hoping that these injuries won't be as severe as they might have been. And yeah, then again, I'm also like not a doctor, not a physio. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, honestly, like I think it's easy to look at the past season and say that, all the players are really injury prone and the medical staff haven't done a great job at dealing with it. And I think there are certain ways that we could have addressed it a little bit better. I do think more rotation from Gareth would have helped. I do think getting more midfielders last summer would have been, great, because I feel like that is something that we severely overlooked last season. So that would have helped. But I also think it's important to just, I don't know, notice the nature of like most of our injuries that were on the field. It was like with our national teams and things like that. Like you can't plan your way around Alex getting tackled and like tearing her MCL. There's so many injuries that at one point, yes, like there is a certain lack of planning on our side to have proper backups and to have like a proper plan in place for these players being gone. But also like sometimes it's really just shitty luck. Like it's really, really bad luck. And I think it's a combination of that. Like, and specifically for Cindy Lohman, people say that like she's injury prone and stuff like that. And that was honestly my concern, because she is a player that, I've watched at Bayern. I liked her a lot, but she was never really somebody that I considered until like we actually started like hearing those rumors about her. And then when we did, I was really worried, because I'm like, girl, this girl is injured for half the season all the time. It's never really been good. Then I've actually been looking at her past season and a half, and she's been pretty consistent with her minutes. She hasn't been injured for long spells of time. She's been back to fitness. And I think one of the things too that I think is important to point out is like the Bundesliga in general tends to be really, really rough on players' fitness. And obviously the WSL is not an easy league. It is quite a physical league, but I don't think it's as bad. So yeah, I feel pretty confident about her fitness. I'm not too worried about it, but I do think it is important to get some proper backups just for like rotation and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, is there anything that y'all feel the need to get off your chest? Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about real quickly? Like,
I mean, we could do a quick Euros preview.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it starts tomorrow, which is kind of crazy to me. And it'll be kind of our first real ability as fans to watch Iman Benny play for Switzerland, which I'm really excited about. And, possibly Lohman for Germany. I think that would be, it will be really cool to just see those players at such a high stakes tournament. Also really excited to see Alex and Tempo back for England, because they're just so like, you'll hear players kind of discussing Lauren specifically, and she's just this like, you can't stop her. Like when we were watching, I was watching her against Jamaica the other day, and it was just like, you'd see her going down the wing, and it was just like, you can't get in her way. It's insane. So I'm just really excited to see her tying it up at another tournament. Because I mean, we had her at City for the last few games, but it was like low stakes.
Getting back, yeah.
United was the only big game, and it wasn't our best because we didn't really have a natural striker in. And yeah, I'm excited for that. So
Lauren Hemp, I love what she can do when attacking people. I think it was this season. I don't really remember who it was, but I remember she literally just did a circle on the ball, like just spun around, and the defender just went, ah! And I was like, I don't get what happened, but it worked. And she truly can do no wrong. She's unstoppable. And yeah, just that center of gravity. She just gets so low and shifty. I want the best for all of our players. Come back
healthy,
with some sort of success, and yes, healthy. Healthy is the most important thing. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Unless anyone else has other thoughts about the Euros,
I mean,
and Carolyn at Copa America.
Yeah.
Ooh, Copa America! I'm actually excited about that. So like, this is actually one of the few tournaments that I can actually watch every single game because like of my time zone, I can't watch every single Euros game. So I'm personally really excited about that. Obviously going to be supporting Brazil for Carolyn. I am Peruvian though. Like I was born in Peru, and our team is bad. Like it is horrible. But I am so excited to see them. Like they're not going to play against Brazil because they're not in the same group. But I will still be tuning into their matches. They will lose every single one, and I will be there supporting them through it. But yeah, it is good just because like I don't really get a chance to see them play that often because it's mostly friendlies and stuff like that. They don't really stream that in Canada, but I am excited about that. And for the Euros as well, I'm going to be supporting Germany. I've always supported them. Yeah, big Germany fan.
Yeah,
me too. I've been saying this.
Who does everybody? I assume Germany.
Wait, that's a good question.
Germany. Like I think Germany are. I've been watching some of their Nations Leagues games. I think they're very, very good. Not saying that because of like Bex and Cindy. I think they're genuinely a really good team, and I thought they were so amazing during the Olympics. They played so well. When they beat us, when they beat Canada, it was quite sad. But they played well the entire match. They played well the entire tournament. They seem like a really fun team as well. Like there is, I guess, some drama behind the scenes, but compared to other teams, there's not really that much going on. They seem like a really good group of people, but I think most of all, I'm really excited to see Bex play. I think if you guys haven't listened to her podcast that she did for like the Man City podcast, you guys definitely should listen to that because she speaks a lot about getting called up to the senior team and finally being capped at like 28 years old, and how it's, obviously it's something that's validating for her, but it's not something that she was working towards because she kind of like made her peace with like never being called up. But yeah, like just like listen to her speak about it if you can, and she's got me on her side. I will be rooting for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is kind of like, will it be England? Will it be Spain? I don't think it's going to be either. Personally, I think it's going to be like a dark horse of like Sweden or Germany. Like that's where I'm at. Maybe even France. Maybe
France.
I would like it to be England. We'll do 2 in a row, but I can't see that happening.
Yeah, their midfield is pretty thin.
Yeah, like I would have gone Spain, but I just don't know if they're going. I mean, they're going to try and force Bonmati back in the team. I don't think that's a great idea.
Her brain was swollen last week.
And like I know it's like viral meningitis, so it's like not, it's not as bad, but it's still meningitis.
Yeah, right.
Like, you can play in another Euros. Like, they don't need to rush it back.
She could play in the knockouts. She's not
exactly. Yeah.
And today, like she's back in training today, and I'm like
she should just be there watching. Yeah, she's so talented.
Let her rest.
Yeah, like it's not that serious. Yeah,
but
that's great. Okay. Well, this truly absolutely wonderful. Very much appreciate y'all giving me a bit of your time. I'd like to do this significantly more often, especially when the season gets up. Would love to have y'all on, just catch up and talk about just how the season's going. Please, for our listeners and viewers, plug yourselves, let people know where they can find you and the things that you do. Not all of you go at once.
I mean, you can find us on Inside MWFC, MCWFC, on Twitter and on Instagram, and on Spotify as well. We do have a podcast.
We do, but we've been kind of lax with it.
We haven't updated in a while, but like we'll be so back for the Euros, like for sure.
We will be back.
We'll be back.
If you want to follow me, if you want to follow me personally, it's Catherine_SB on Twitter. I don't really post a lot, but I like to have like a public face so people know who's tweeting on Inside. Yeah.
You can follow me on Klaumph.
The app. My favorite app.
And you can follow Dan at Retro Shirts.
Yeah, Dan Retro Shirts if you want to follow me.
My gosh, this was great. Okay, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining, coming on, having fun in the chats. I always appreciate y'all. I have 2 more shows to do later today, so I'm gonna don't follow that.
Okay.
Hey, I've followed both you, Kat and Dan. So
thank you.
Yeah. Everybody, we'll see you soon. Until then, you know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.